Hello, I'm CJ Worden. I'm the Emergency Management Agency Director here in Oconee County. Recently, I was asked by Miss Blair to come speak to her first grade class and the entire first grade at Rocky Branch Elementary regarding weather. We had a discussion about that and determined that it would be neat for me to come talk about my role as the Emergency Management Director here in Oconee County and what weather does to affect that role. So, following that presentation, we had a good time and we all learned a lot. I got these really nice letters from Miss Blair and her class. And I want to read some of those letters because they were very sweet and I really appreciate that, but there are also some questions. So I want to go through those and maybe we can have some laughs along the way as I read some of these. So the first letter reads, Dear Mr. Worden, first grade at Rocky Branch, really enjoyed your visit to talk to us about the weather. We learned so much and it was very interesting. Thanks again, sincerely, Miss Blair's first grade class. Well, Miss Blair and your class, let me first tell you that I had a lot of fun and I'm so glad that you invited me out. The next letter says, Dear Mr. Worden, thank you for teaching us. You are awesome. Why do you do this job? Thank you, Dylan. Well, the reason I do this job is because I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun. I work with some really nice people. I get to work with really smart people. I learn every day. And of course, I get paid to do it. So everybody wins as far as I'm concerned. It's a wonderful area in which to work. It's an exciting field. I just enjoy it. The next letter says, Dear Mr. Worden, I love what you taught us. I like what you are. How do tornadoes form? Love, Wyatt. Well, tornadoes form because of what's called instability in the atmosphere, where there will be rotation of wind and there's also a lot of warming and cooling of air, and then that air starts to spin. And when that starts to spin, if there's more heat, then the air becomes unstable, and that's what causes tornadoes. The next letter says, Dear Mr. Worden, thank you for coming to our school. How do earthquakes happen? You are on the news. Love, Tanner. Well, earthquakes aren't exactly weather, but that's a great question, so I will address that for you. Earthquakes happen because the surface of the earth floats on things called tectonic plates, or we'll just call them plates. So those plates that are floating, if you think of the stuff that comes out of the volcano, when the lava comes out of that, when it's in the ground, it's called magma, and it's really hot. And sometimes that stuff shifts, and when that stuff shifts, then there are fault lines, and the plates will slide along those fault lines, and it'll shake a good bit. Great question. Next, Dear Mr. Worden, it was very cool that you were on the news. I'm very happy that you came. I liked when you talked about tornadoes. Well, I enjoyed talking about those too. I don't enjoy when those happen though. Here's a good one. Dear Mr. Worden, I am so glad you came to Rocky Branch Elementary School. How many times have you had to fix a house? Well, I'm not really that good at working on houses, so I don't fix houses very often. So that's not something that I would normally do. How do tornadoes happen? And we talked about that already. How do hurricanes happen? And how do earthquakes happen? Love, Alexander. Well, I didn't talk about hurricanes, so I'll talk about that just a second. We talked about a tornado, but a hurricane happens in the ocean, and it happens down along the equator where the temperature is really warm. So what happens is warm air will rise and then it will cool, but wherever it rises from, more warm air has to take its place. So you have this constant cycle of warm air rising and then cooling and going back down, and then it begins to rotate. When it reaches 39 miles per hour, it's a tropical storm. It reaches 74 miles per hour, then it's a hurricane. And you see those, the paths they take when they reach the United States, they'll come north and then they'll turn east, and that's due to a thing called the jet stream. So, great question. The next one says, Dear Mr. Worden, you can come here next year. What will you do on a stormy day when you do not have any internet? That was cool. Love, Everly. Well, Everly, I am an older individual, so I haven't always had internet. So when I don't have internet, I will probably find something else to do, whether it's to work outside or to clean up the house or maybe even read a book or watch TV or cook supper or whatever there is. There are a lot of things that I know how to do when there's no internet. But I do use the internet a lot also, so when it's out, I notice it. Now I want to read one more. It says, "Dear Mr. Worden, thank you for coming to our school. I hope you come again. I want to learn more about weather. That was cool. Love, Emery." Well, again, I thought it was cool. I enjoyed getting to come out and talk to you and have you talk to me, because I learned from you guys just like you learned from me. So again, thank you. I hope that you have learned something from me talking here today, and I'll be glad to do anything I can to help you continue your learning.